Hey guys, Albert with Rescue Roots here. This is the first time I'm using this tripod, so it's kind of interesting. I'm gonna have my hands free. So this video is very special because I'm gonna introduce phalenopsis orchids. So some of y'all might be asking, what are phalenopsis orchids? So this is a phalenopsis orchid. This is probably the most popular type of orchid that most people, hey bunny, know from the grocery stores. These were probably the original type of orchids that kind of grew to be very infamous in grocery stores, and they grew popularity just because they do last longer than cut flowers. So what I'm gonna first start with is I'll remove this one aside. So I want to talk about repotting them. So I got this one. This one's a pretty big one. So notice that these spikes are helping hold the flower spike up. So what I'm gonna do now, I kind of already took it out of the medium, and I have these roots. So there are some that are kind of like that need to be pruned. So what I'm gonna do is prune them. So I got my scissors that have been sanitized, and I'm basically gonna cut anything that doesn't look very lively or has full body to it. So anything that's yellow or withered, I'm gonna just kind of cut away. Usually you'll notice that mostly everything towards the bottom tends to be dead. I do want to remind you to make sure your scissors are clean. So I prepped these with alcohol before I started cutting because you don't want to present any disease into your orchid. Ooh. I'm gonna cut that one a little bit up. Let's see. Okay. So this is what I'm left with. Notice how most of it is pretty lively. It's green. It's firm to the touch. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my this is an orchid pot. Notice the big holes at the bottom. I'm going to just get a handful of, this is kind of my own orchid mix. It's pretty much orchid bark mixed with sphagnum moss, mixed with charcoal, mixed with a bunch of stuff. You can honestly, whenever you're first starting out, just start with the commercial, and it's gonna be a lot easier for you. I did start with that, and then I kind of switched to my own. Ow. Oh, look, I have a old dried up cactus in there. That needs to go in the. That I'll make sure to talk. Ow. Yep, and I got a splinter. That guy just keeps on coming up. And you kind of just want to bury those, not bury the roots, but kind of give them enough medium around them to give them that support so that way they can grow around them. And now, kind of like that. I'll clean that up shortly. This is just some orchid bark. That's what it originally came with. So now let's see what I'm dealing with up here. These flowers actually look pretty good. So there I got that one. So I'm gonna water that one a little later tonight. So now I have this one. This one, instead of being an orchid bark, it's actually in sphagnum moss. So I'm gonna kind of push it out. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is just lightly pull it away. So don't be too scared. But what I'm doing is just slightly kind of taking the roots apart. Trying not to be too rough. This one's actually a really good specimen. So I'm just taking the sphagnum moss. The sphagnum moss can be reused or you can toss it. Typically I don't like to reuse it too much because it tends to be like overpacked and not that high quality. So I will kind of, sometimes I'll replace it. So right now I'm just kind of taking it away from the roots. So I'm gonna check see if there's any dead roots right now. Usually if there are, it'll be like usually in the center. And I was gonna move this one to a bigger pot just because it is ready. So you see all of these are actually really healthy roots. But right here in the middle, there's probably some like dead roots, so I'm gonna just cut those away. So any spots that are flat, that look just uglier, any black areas, sorry, root. Places that you cut, if you want to, you can also apply hydrogen peroxide. I'm gonna cut that root just because. And excuse me, I'm actually gonna get this bigger pot. Okay, I'm back. Got this bigger orchid pot, so I'm just gonna fill it with some of my medium. And I'll talk about these spikes in shortly. And honestly, you don't have to pack the medium. Orchids actually like a lot of air around the roots, so that's why I'm just lightly kind of not even packing it really. I'm actually gonna cut this guy because he's broken. Oh, that's a nice root. So I do want to talk about these spikes real quick. So I know right now it doesn't have any flowers, but if you look at to these very tips, they actually look like little fists. Those are actually, it's going to continue to grow, so I'm going to continue caring for it. If those little spots looked dead or gray, I would have cut it. And whenever you want to cut them, I guess I can show you at a later video, but these guys are good right now, okay? So I will leave those. So I'm going to water these guys, and that's how you repot phalenopsis orchids. Thank you.